Okay, so I'm headed to my very first spin class ever. That's not Peloton. I'm extremely nervous, but yeah, we're about to go. I'm gonna try and figure out how to put the top down in this bad boy and get to get to going. Listen to my pumped up Peloton playlist on the way to get me in the mindset. So yeah, I'm nervous. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm starting a new series where I try different workouts, different boutique classes, things like that, and I report back to you and tell you what I think about them. You guys know I love my Peloton. It is my life, but it's important to branch out, so that's what we're doing. A few weeks ago, I went with my friend to her spin class. Typically, I will be filming what I can while I'm there, telling you the name of the place and all those things so that you have a better idea of what I was doing. This one was just like an independent, non-chain, not part of a gym cycling class that my friend goes to. So for safety reasons, I did not film. I'm not going to tell you the name of it, but just in general, you can think of indoor spin, indoor cycling. So in your mind, that's what you should be picturing. I wanted to do this because I know that I had never stepped foot into a spin class before Peloton. I've only ever done Peloton workouts. I've never, before this, gone to any kind of group fitness class, actually, now that I think about it. And the thought of it was really intimidating, and I'm sure it's intimidating for a lot of you. And with like Peloton studios opening again and all these fun things happening, I know some of you might be itching to get out of your house, but you're nervous. So I just want to share my experience with you so that you have a better idea of what to expect when you go to these classes. So let's just get started. So I'll start with just a few things that I think that maybe you should know before or right after you sign up for a spin class. So you should know how long the workout is going to be and what you should expect out of it. Now, obviously, when you are on your Peloton, you get to choose. You can filter by time if you want to do 15, 30 minutes, whatever. If you want to do like an intervals and arms, a hit ride, whatever. When you sign up, just ask general questions like, in general, what does this instructor do? Is it more interval based? Should I expect some climbs, things like that? Also, the time, are there any breaks in the class for different things? So for this class that I went to, it was a 60-minute class. About halfway through, there was a break for like arms, like light weights. It was weird though, because we actually got off the bike to do it, which threw me off a little bit, but whatever. And then in terms of what the class was like, it was a mix. It was like a general class, like kind of like if you hop into a pop ride, you know you're probably going to get some intervals, you're probably going to get some jogs, you're probably going to get some climbs. That was kind of what the structure was like. So if they don't say specifically, you can probably guess that it's going to be a mixture of different kinds of things. You should definitely check what kind of shoes they use, what kind of cleats they use on their bikes, so that you make sure you arrive with the right shoes. So I happen to know that this particular place that I went to, my Peloton cleats were not compatible, so I brought flat running shoes and used the toe cages. Just make sure you know, because if you think that your Peloton cleats are going to be compatible and you show up and you don't have any other shoes and they're not compatible, you're kind of SOL. So definitely ask that question and ask if they have maybe like shoe rental, if that's an option, if you don't use toe cages. This one did not, so that's another important thing. You should also try, if you can, if you are signing up in person, to take a little tour around the room or one of the rooms that you're going to be working out in before or after you sign up, before the class happens, so that you have an idea of kind of like where the instructor is, and then you can decide. I mean, I know sometimes you get assigned a bike, but if you get to choose, you can kind of decide where in the class you want to be. This was kind of important for me because in this class, the instructor was in the middle, and then there were bikes right to the side and right behind. And like Peloton, in this class, you ride to the beat of the music, but unlike Peloton, you don't have a screen that tells you what the cadence should be. And if you're like me and you can't find the beat on your own, you definitely want to make sure that you can see the instructor so that you can watch their legs and catch their leg speed to make sure that you are riding where you're supposed to be. So now I'm just going to go into some general pros and cons, tell you what I liked, what I didn't like about it, and the whole experience. So pro. It was very, very dark in the room. When the class started, the lights went down. One like neon light lit up the room in a blue, but mostly it was just dark, which I thought was awesome. It was like a security blanket. It was my first time being in a fitness class with other people, and the darkness just like cast the shadow and helped me feel like there wasn't a ton of strangers around me. Now, Con. I was the biggest person in the room. This is obviously a me problem, it's not a them problem. I expected it. I'm the biggest person pretty much everywhere that I go, but I still was like highly acutely aware of the fact that I was the biggest person in the room. And I mean, if you're plus size, you just know, and as prepared as you can be for it, it's still right there. I felt like I kept wanting to scream, I know I'm fat, but I ride my Peloton every single day. I belong here, I swear. I did not feel judged. I swear to God, I did not feel judged by anybody else who was there. It was totally me and in my brain, but as much as I thought I prepared myself for it, it was there. I could not shake the feeling, especially during that first class that I took. Pro. In this specific case, I got to work out with my bestie. This is her class that she goes to. It's her thing. It's her version of her Peloton. And it was just really fun to work out with her and experience something that she loves and get an idea of what it is that she does when she goes to these classes that she's always talking about. Con. I'm not someone who necessarily needs or wants a workout buddy. So as much fun as it was to work out with her, like, it's not something that I seek out. It didn't do anything extra for me. It wasn't like, oh my God, this is what I've been missing this whole time. I just prefer to work out alone. Pro. There was no screen in front of me. There was no countdown. When the class started, and it didn't end until it ended. I had no idea how far we were into the class at any point, and it seemed to just fly by without having the countdown of, 45 minutes left, half an hour left. It just flew like that. Con. I am really reliant on my metrics. I like to know what's going on during the class. I like to know how many miles I've ridden. I like to know exactly what my cadence is. I like to know exactly what my resistance is. I like to know the output that I'm generating. And I had my Apple Watch. I turned on like the indoor cycling workout. I could look at my watch and see how long it had been going. I could see how many miles I had ridden, but in the dark room, looking at my watch felt like a distraction. I missed having my output and everything right in front of me. It felt like something was missing in that sense. So, pro. There was a lot of out of the saddle work. There's a lot of out of the saddle work on Peloton, but since you're by yourself and the instructor can't see you and there's no one else around, you can really just take it all in the saddle if you want to. You can kind of skip the out of the saddle work. Being in the class, I was given the option to stay in the saddle, but I felt like I wanted to get out of the saddle and be like everybody else. So it was good. It gave me a chance to practice, to work on speed while out of the saddle, something that I don't normally do with my Peloton. Working on different positions like second position, third position, walking it out, isolations, a lot of stuff that they say to do on Peloton, but since I'm in a room by myself, I'm just kind of skipping out on. And it really did. Like, it's already made me more confident. I've been back home for a couple days and I have not skipped a single out of the saddle cue in a Peloton class since then. So that was good. It gave me, the necessary push that I needed to actually get my ass up and not just add resistance in the saddle all the time. Con. I was using toe cages. I was not clipped in, and I was very aware of the fact that I was not clipped in. Every time I ever do anything on my Peloton, every time I get out of the saddle and I start to feel a little uneasy, I always think to myself, you're clipped in. What's the worst that can happen? You're not gonna fall off. In this case, I wasn't clipped in. My toes could have easily slipped out of those toe cages at any given time, and I felt like half the time that I got out of the saddle, I was just thinking like, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall, don't fall. So again, back to the beginning, make sure you know what kind of shoes, make sure you know if you're gonna be able to rent shoes or borrow shoes or whatever. And if you need to use running shoes and toe cages, just keep yourself prepared for the fact that you're not clipped in and you might feel a little unsteady. Pro, the music was fantastic. The instructor that I rode with the few times that I went was actually, like, she was our age, well, my age. She's someone that my friend and I had gone to school with, so just very similar tastes and vibes. She did a full Taylor Swift ride the one day. It was just like, I was living my absolute best life. It was just, music was chef's kiss amazing. Con, the choreography. So if you take Peloton groove rides with Cody or Emma, then or if you've ever done like Soul Cycle or anything like that, choreography is a big part of spin classes. In regular Peloton classes, we don't do that as often. Every once in a while, like Kendall or someone will cue you to do tap backs and things like that, but it's not part of like the everyday Peloton experience, if you will. It was a huge part of this class, and I have no sense of rhythm. I have no sense of rhythm. I really don't. Trying to do push-ups and crunches and side to sides and all this different stuff on the bike while also pedaling, it felt a little like pat your head, rub your tummy for me. It was too much. It was too much. It was very distracting. And again, that's a me thing. It's not a them thing. But if you're like me and you have no sense of the rhythm, just be prepared and accept the fact that you might just have to skip out on some of the choreography to make sure you can just keep pedaling. And my last pro, it was actually easier than a regular Peloton class. I was expecting to not be able to keep up. I was expecting to fall behind. You know, you expect the worst, especially when you're the big girl in the class. I thought that it was going to be much more difficult, that I was going to struggle to stay along. And I mean, I did struggle with the choreography, but as far as like the actual workout, like I was afraid that I wasn't going to be able to keep up. But it was actually easier than a Peloton class. So once I got into it, I realized I can do this, no problem. I hope this video gives you kind of an idea of what to expect if you're going to go to a spin class that is not Peloton or is not like a chain, it's not a cycle bar or Soul Cycle or anything like that. Hope it gives you a little bit of confidence as to what to expect, your ability, all of that stuff. If you have any questions, if you have anything to add, if you go to these kind of classes regularly, if you have any other sort of workout class that you want me to try and report back to you guys on, let me know in the comments down below, DM me on Instagram, you guys, whatever, just reach out to me. I'll be here, I'll be listening. And that is all I have for you today. I will see you very soon right here in my next video. Bye!